The broadcast. The sky above Argus Prime was a soft swirl of violet and gold. A peaceful dusk falling over the farming colony nestled on the planet's southern continent. Birds chirped in the trees, children laughed in the streets, and for a moment, it seemed the universe was still kind. But inside the town square, surrounded by armored hovercrafts and alien soldiers in gleaming obsidian armor, peace was a lie. Elias stood tall despite the bruises on his face. His younger brother Tarek knelt beside him, trembling. Both wore simple work overalls stained with soil. They'd been dragged straight from the fields by Galactic Coalition troops less than an hour ago. "This is a mistake," Elias said firmly, staring at the alien commander, a towering four-armed Threxian named Captain Jern. "We're farmers. My brother's just a kid." Tarek coughed blood. "We didn't help anyone. We don't even know any rebels." Jern didn't look at them. His cybernetic eye fed a live uplink to Coalition Central Command, broadcasting the scene to every major system. His voice rang cold, amplified through the square. "By decree of Article 17, these humans are found guilty of insurgent collaboration. Sentence death." Gasps erupted from the gathered townsfolk. Their mother, Naima, shoved through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. "They're innocent. Please, talk to Earth. Call your superiors." A human liaison, a nervous bureaucrat named Grissom, stood nearby, pale and sweating. "Captain, may I advise we hold off until—" "No," Jern cut in. "Earth signed the Coalition Compact. Their colonies fall under Coalition law." Jern raised his rifle. The other soldiers followed. Tara clutched Elias's sleeve, panicked. "I don't want to die." "You're not alone," Elias whispered, voice breaking. "Close your eyes." The broadcast caught it all. The young men, hands bound, kneeling under alien guns as the sun set behind them. Elias didn't flinch. Tarek sobbed. And then, the shots rang out. Twin impacts echoed through the square. Their bodies fell still. Silence held for several seconds. Then the feed continued for exactly 8 minutes, capturing the uneasy celebration of the alien squad, the tension among the human colonists, and the sharp, distant whine of an approaching wind. Somewhere, unnoticed, a small camera drone buzzed above, until its lens suddenly fogged and melted, feed crashing to static. The screen went black. Retaliation protocol. The room was silent when the footage ended. Commander Ray Monroe sat perfectly still at the center of the dimly lit war room aboard Earth's orbital command station, Vigilance. The projection of the live broadcast hovered in the air before her, paused on the image of 2 lifeless bodies crumpled in the dirt. Her jaw was locked. The other officers in the room, human and alien, shifted uneasily, unsure whether to speak. "I want confirmation," Ray said quietly. Her adjutant, Lieutenant Imani Cross, swallowed. Cross referenced with Argus Prime's planetary clock. "From first shot to signal loss, 8 minutes, Commander. And no authorization from EarthGov for the execution?" "None." The colonial governor filed an appeal 3 days ago. It was still under review. Ray stood. "Then they violated the compact." One of the alien advisors, a feathered plenary named Ossic, raised a trembling hand. "Commander Monroe, I urge caution. The Threxian attachment was acting under perceived threat. There are rumors of rebel. They executed unarmed civilians on a live feed." Ray snapped, cutting him off. "Children, citizens, my people." Her voice held no rage, just precision. The room went still again. A soft chime sounded as a retinal scan cleared her console. She tapped a code into the glowing panel. "Vigilance AI," Ray said, her voice flat. "Initiate retaliation protocol Omega 7. Authorize Black Talon deployment." Authorization confirmed, the AI intoned. "Retaliation force en route. Estimated time to surface, 7 minutes, 54 seconds. The advisors exchanged alarmed glances. Even the human officers stiffened. "Omega 7? Ossic choked. "Commander, that protocol hasn't been activated in over a decade. It's meant for extermination-level response." "They made it public," Ray said, her voice like ice. "They didn't just kill 2 boys. They humiliated us. and they told the galaxy that human lives mean nothing. She turned to the tactical display. On the screen, a set of drop pods had already launched from Vigilance's underbelly, streaking through the stars like steel comets. Inside each one, a Revenant. Earth's most feared soldiers. They didn't wear insignias. Their files didn't exist. Not officially. They were forged from the remains of war, cybernetic minds, enhanced muscles, pain thresholds erased and replaced with purpose. There were 12 of them. That was all Ray would need. Target, the AI asked. Coalition Firebase Delta 7. Located in the highlands of Argus Prime. Mission directive, total incineration of responsible parties. No survivors. Cross approached cautiously. Commander, the political fallout. I'll carry it. The tactical screen zoomed in on Argus Prime, red triangles flaring as the pods pierced atmosphere. One by one, each signal locked on. Then Ray said something she hadn't spoken aloud in years. No one touches family. Not without fire answering. Meanwhile, on the surface of Argus Prime, Captain Jern was reclining in his tent, pouring himself a glass of amber liquor. He hadn't slept. Too much adrenaline, but he was proud. The broadcast had gone better than expected. With any luck, his superiors would fast-track his promotion. The camp was quiet. Too quiet. One of his soldiers, a Sarlaxian named Droth, stood outside the tent, nervously glancing up at the sky. "Sir," he called, "sensors are picking up something." Multiple entry burns. Coming in fast. Jern frowned. "Meteor shower?" Droth shook his head. "Too controlled. They're dropping straight on us." An alarm klaxon began to wail. Jern stood, knocking his drink over. "Get to the transports, now." Outside, soldiers scrambled. Lights flickered. The base's atmospheric pressure began to rise, rapidly. The air shimmered, thick with heat. Then the first pod hit. It didn't explode. It simply landed and opened. Out stepped a humanoid figure in pitch-black armor, smoke trailing from its limbs, visor glowing crimson through a haze of fire. Jern barely had time to speak before a wall of flame swept through the base's eastern wing. He screamed over the comms, "Get me extraction! Get me! Static!" And then, one word whispered through the burning winds, reaching every surviving soldier's helmet. 8 minutes of hell. The heat was unbearable. Private Reeking gasped as the skin on his forearms blistered under his armor. The metal was warping, melting. He staggered into the hallway, only to find another soldier slumped against the wall, half his body blackened and steaming. "Evac! Evac now!" Reekin screamed into his comms, but only static hissed back. From the center of Firebase Delta 7, flames danced like ghosts through the corridors. There were no explosions, no gunfire. Just fire, precise, controlled, unnatural. It flowed through ventilation shafts, seeped through the gaps in doors, chased them like a living thing. A Revenant moved silently through the blaze. It didn't run. It didn't speak. It simply walked, each step cracking stone beneath its boots. Its armor pulsed orange with internal heat. From its forearm, a device hissed, microplasma jets fanning out in delicate arcs, vaporizing steel and bone alike. The Revenant paused beside a locked bulkhead. From within, soldiers pounded, screaming, "Please, we surrender. Please." The Revenant raised its hand. Flames whispered through the seams. The metal door glowed white. The screaming stopped. Captain Jern crawled across the command center, blood leaking from his nose. The temperature had risen 20 degrees in 5 minutes. His eyes burned. His breathing rasped. Around him, consoles sparked and failed one by one. Only 3 of them remained. Jern, Sergeant Droth, and a junior technician who hadn't spoken since the first pod landed. The others were dead, or screaming somewhere deeper in the inferno. "They're not soldiers," Jern muttered. "They're devils. No species does this. No rules. No demands. Just death." Droth growled, shaking. "What do they want?" As if in answer, the doors burst inward, melted by a searing heat lance. The Revenant stepped through, its armor blackened with ash, a faint red glow leaking from its visor like a predator's eyes in the dark. The technician fainted. Droth lunged forward, his plasma rifle charged, but the shot never left the barrel. The weapon detonated in his hands, superheated by ambient pressure. He crumpled, lifeless. Jern was all that remained. He fell backward, hands raised. I'm an officer. I was following Coalition law. The Revenant took a step closer. We're allies. Earth signed the compact. Another step. I was told they were rebels. The Revenant finally spoke. Its voice was distorted, filtered through modulated growls and static. You made a broadcast, so we're making one too. A small orb flew from the Revenant's shoulder, hovered above Jern, and began to record. No, wait. The Revenant lifted its arm. The plasma arc flared. And then, like the others, Jern was gone, reduced to ash in seconds. 7 minutes and 53 seconds had passed. Above the base, the last drone captured the scene. A scorched valley, the facility reduced to smoldering ruins. 12 black-armored figures stood in silence, evenly spaced among the devastation. Then, as one, they turned toward the sky. The camera melted. At Earth Command, the final image froze on Raymond Rowe's screen. A quiet beep confirmed the mission report. Objective complete. All targets neutralized. Total time elapsed. 8 minutes. Ray stood, gaze distant. They sent a message, she murmured. We replied. Lieutenant Cross stepped beside her. Should I draft a formal statement for the Galactic Council? Ray didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked out the observation window at the stars beyond, cold, endless, watching. Send them the footage, she finally said. Let them see what human grief looks like when it burns. Message received. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council on Virex Station, silence gripped the chamber like a vice. The footage had ended 3 minutes ago. Not a soul moved. Not the Threxian ambassador, whose scales had lost their usual emerald shimmer. Not the Sarlaxian trade minister, whose 3 hearts were beating visibly in his neck. Not even the usually boisterous Ren speakers dared to whisper. A single message had arrived from Earth Command after the incident on Argus Prime. It wasn't a statement, nor a protest, nor a justification. It was a video, the broadcast captured by the Revenant drones. The methodical, relentless annihilation of Firebase Delta 7. The calm, brutal precision. The whisper of fire. The final image, 12 black figures in a ring of ash, staring up at the stars as if daring someone, anyone, to try them next. At the center of the hall, High Chancellor Irev of the Coalition turned toward the human envoy. Envoy Tal Murren didn't stand. He remained seated at the delegation table, hands folded, expression unreadable. Is this your formal response, Earth? The Chancellor asked, voice dry and cracking. You sent monsters. You sent fire. Murren raised a single brow. You broadcasted the deaths of our citizens. There were allegations of rebel activity. The local commander acted in haste, but the law was followed. They were farmers, Murren interrupted. 2 brothers, 18 and 25. No charges filed. No trial. No contact with EarthGov. You executed them to make a point. And your point was annihilation? No, Murren said softly. Our point was accountability. He rose now, slowly, deliberately. Earth joined the coalition under one condition, that our people be treated as equals. We bring food, tech, ships, medicine. But we also bring memory. You assumed that our silence meant softness. You forgot where we come from. Around the room, some looked away. Others met his gaze and flinched. We're from a world where fire shaped us, where extinction chased us every day, where peace was earned, not given. And we swore, all of us, that if anyone touched our children again, they would learn what we remember best. He tapped his data slate once. A second video began, the one that the Revenant drone had recorded of Captain Jern's final moments. No one dared watch the whole thing. By the halfway mark, most delegates had looked away. A few wept. Even the hard-eyed Coral warlords, who had seen 1,000 battles, fell silent. Murren stopped the footage before the plasma ignited. He looked at them all. We didn't fire on a city. We didn't kill civilians. We found those responsible and removed them. Swiftly. Precisely. With fire, yes. Because that's what was used on us. Chancellor Irev slumped slightly in her seat. And if others disagree? If the council deems this act of vengeance illegal? Murren's eyes were cold as frost. Then let them try. Back on Argus Prime, the sun rose slowly over the valley where Firebase Delta 7 had once stood. The land was black and glass now. No trace of bodies. No weapons. No structures. In a nearby village, a crowd had gathered in the square once stained with Elias and Tarek's blood. A new monument stood there now, polished obsidian carved with two names, and a flame eternal lit above them. Flowers surrounded the base, left by humans and aliens alike. Naima, their mother, stood quietly before it. She didn't speak. She had no tears left, but she touched their names and whispered, "You mattered." Behind her, a little girl asked her father what the monument meant. He knelt beside her. "It means the galaxy learned a lesson," he said gently. "What lesson?" He looked at the flame. "That no one hurts our people without being burned." Final line. They executed two brothers on live broadcast. 8 minutes later, they were incinerated alive. And the galaxy was never the same again.